My name is Emily Hart, and I've worked the night shift in the neonatal unit at St. Brigid's Hospital in Portland for nearly 5 years now. Long enough to know that hospitals, especially in the dead of night, can play tricks on your mind. The hum of fluorescent lights, the beeping of monitors, the sterile smell of disinfectant, they all blend into a kind of hypnotic rhythm. You get used to it. You have to. But there are some things you can't explain away, no matter how long you've been around. St. Brigid's isn't just any hospital. It's one of the oldest in the city, with a history that stretches back over a century. The original building still stands, though most of it's been renovated and modernized. But the nursery is in the old wing, where the walls seem to whisper with the memories of the past. They say strange things happen there, but I never believed in any of that. Not until it started happening to me. It started about a month ago. It was a quiet night. Too quiet. The kind of stillness that feels unnatural, like the whole world is holding its breath. I was doing my usual rounds, checking on the babies, adjusting monitors, making sure everything was as it should be. The nursery was dimly lit, just enough to see the tiny, fragile forms swaddled in their cribs. The old radiator in the corner let out occasional groans, the kind that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. That's when I saw it. A tall, dark figure standing in the corner of the room, near the farthest crib. At first, I thought it was just my eyes playing tricks on me, a shadow cast by the moonlight filtering through the blinds. But this shadow wasn't still. It moved, ever so slightly, like it was breathing. I blinked hard, shook my head, and when I looked again, it was gone. I told myself I was just tired. Maybe I'd had one too many cups of coffee, or not enough. I went back to my rounds, convincing myself it was nothing. But the feeling lingered, a cold, prickling sensation at the back of my neck, like I was being watched. The next night, it happened again. Same shadow, same spot. Only this time, it was closer to the crib. I could see its outline more clearly, tall, unnaturally thin, with long, spindly arms that seemed to stretch towards the baby sleeping peacefully below. My heart pounded in my chest. I took a step forward, ready to confront. What exactly? I didn't know. But as soon as I moved, the shadow melted into the darkness, disappearing like it had never been there. I checked the security cameras the next morning, hoping to find some logical explanation. But there was nothing. No sign of anyone entering or leaving the nursery. No shadows. No movements. Just me, doing my rounds, looking more and more paranoid with each passing minute. I tried to brush it off, but the shadows didn't stop. Each night, it would appear, always near a different crib. Sometimes it would just stand there, motionless. Other times, it would lean over, its head hovering inches above the babies, as if whispering something only they could hear. The strangest part? The babies never cried. They didn't stir, didn't fuss. They just lay there, perfectly still, as if they were in a trance. Then the health issues started. Babies who had been perfectly healthy began to decline. Sudden, unexplained illnesses, fevers that wouldn't break, oxygen levels that dipped without warning. Doctors ran every test they could think of, but no one could figure out what was wrong. It was like something was draining them. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was connected to the shadow. But who would believe me? One night, I decided to stay in the nursery. I pulled up a chair between the cribs and waited, my eyes fixed on the corner where the shadow always appeared. Hours passed, and the only sounds were the soft beeping of monitors and the occasional rustle of a baby shifting in their sleep. Then, just past 3 a.m., the temperature in the room dropped. Not just a little. It felt like someone had opened a door to the Arctic. I could see my breath in the dim light, and then I saw it. The shadow emerged from the corner, slow and deliberate. It glided across the floor, stopping beside the crib nearest to me. My heart hammered in my chest, but I forced myself to stay still, to watch. It leaned over the crib, its long fingers hovering just above the baby's chest. That's when I heard it, a whisper, faint but unmistakable. They're mine now. The voice was cold, hollow, and it seemed to echo inside my skull. I wanted to scream, to lunge at the thing and tear it away from the baby, but my body wouldn't move. It was like I was paralyzed, trapped in my own skin. The baby's monitor beeped wildly, oxygen levels plummeting. The shadow straightened, turning its head towards me. Though it had no face, I felt its gaze, a piercing, soul-deep stare that froze me to the core. They're mine now, it repeated, before melting back into the darkness. As soon as it vanished, I could move again. I rushed to the baby's crib, calling for help. The doctors and nurses poured in, working frantically to stabilize the infant. They managed to bring the baby back, but just barely. No one could explain what had happened. I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. I told my supervisor everything, the shadows, the whispers, the unexplained illnesses. I expected her to laugh, to tell me I needed sleep or a vacation. But instead, she looked at me with a strange, haunted expression. "You saw it too," she whispered. She told me about the history of the hospital, about a doctor who had worked in the neonatal unit decades ago. He was obsessed with the babies, convinced they were his in some twisted way. When he was caught experimenting on them, he took his own life in the very nursery where I now worked. They say his spirit never left. We tried everything, blessings, cleansings, even bringing in a priest to perform an exorcism. But nothing worked. The shadow kept coming back, claiming the babies one by one. I couldn't take it anymore. I quit my job, left St. Brigid's behind. But the memories, they never left me. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear that voice in my dreams. They're mine now. And I wonder if the shadow ever really stayed behind, or if it followed me home.